Hello and welcome back to the Coop De Villa Podcast. I'm Noah Fisher, joined always with Jake Mariner and new guest of the channel, Peter Caulfield. Aston Villa 0, Brentford 1. A really disappointing day at Villa Park. So we do appreciate you guys watching this podcast if you're on YouTube or on Spotify. And we'll go to you first, Peter. Obviously, welcome to the channel. Tell us your story, how you became a Villa fan.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be here with you fine gentlemen. Pretty much became a Villa fan thanks to my grandfather. He, unconfirmed story, went to Villa Park in the 60s, was given a stadium tour, and basically just fell in love with the club ever since. Was more of a, just watch the results kind of person. And I think until I really started getting into him about 2012, 2013, I think drove his passion for the Villa up. And yeah, it's pretty much where it all started.
It's going to be great to have you on this podcast, Peter. We'll go to you first, Jakey. Obviously, welcome back to the channel. We'll start with some positive news or positive things to talk about. How good was it seeing Tammy Abraham and Douglas Luiz back in Villa shirts and back at Villa Park?
Oh, my God. Do you know what? When Douglas Luiz left, I was a little bit upset. And I didn't think that we would actually ever see it again, but here we are. Tammy Abraham, very fond memories, as you guys would have seen last week. I put up the video of him scoring the winning penalty against West Brom. One of my favourite memories of him, and it was so good to see them both back in a claret and blue shirt.
They look like they just belonged, to be honest. They look like they just fit straight back in the squad.
Honestly, Douglas Luiz was like he hasn't missed a beat. Besides changing his kit number to 21, which I actually think suits him, by the way, DL21. I actually do think it suits him. It's just great to see them both playing. And I know we'll touch on it a bit later, but how good would it have been with Tammy Abraham with a goal next to his name? It would have been so fitting on his return and whatnot. But we'll go to, I guess, earlier into the game. Skip a little bit. I know Tammy had a great chance about 20 minutes in. I think Rogers fed him through and he kind of hit it right at Callagher. The big moment of the first half, or one of the big moments of the first half, was a red card, Peter. And for me, it's an obvious red card. Sharda kicks out at Cash right at the end there, and it has to be red.
Yeah, you can't have any complaints with it. He's kicked a man while he's down. It's pretty much right in front of the linesman, and yeah, you can't argue with that. It's a red card on any ground any given day of the week.
And what I find funny is we've been so unlucky with players getting sent off that I almost wouldn't have been surprised if it was given a yellow, like against Aston Villa, because we had people getting pulled down on second yellows, pushing players in the back. And it seems like no one ever gets red carded against Aston Villa. But fair play to the ref. I think they actually finally got one right, Jakey. And I mean, at 10 men, you think, geez, we're going to kick on here. It's 0-0 at this stage. We're going to kick on. But I know we have a good record against teams with 10 men. I know AVFC Stato tweeted it and put it on social media. Have a decent record. I don't ever really remember us dominating teams that have 10 men.
No, neither do I, but obviously the stats don't lie for themselves. I think, when you think they go down to 10 men, yeah, you think you're in here. But to their credit, they defended really well. And we threw absolutely everything at them and they didn't break. So fair play to Brentford. They defended really well with 10 men. And yeah, really disappointed not to be able to come away with the 3 points there this morning.
And obviously, seeing with how, I guess, other teams around us are winning games, the gap's now 5 points between us and Manchester United. And Villa fans will be disappointed and rightfully disappointed leaving Villa Park yesterday with how the result kind of turned out, Peter. But it's still 5 points. It's still in our hands. I reckon we need, maybe 6, pushing 7 wins potentially to secure Champions League football in 14 games.
I think definitely. That's the thing. Our squad is so depleted at the moment. It's going to make it very difficult. And you got teams like Brentford who are almost about to breathe down our necks for, pushing top 6, top 5 potentially with the way they're playing. I think it's going to be very difficult. Our run home is probably almost as difficult as it gets, starting with next week. I am still hopeful we'll still finish in the top 5, but it honestly wouldn't surprise me if we did drop out.
I mean, we definitely could drop out. what I'll say about football is it's a funny sport. You know, United win 3 in a row. We could easily win our next 3 or 4 in a row, and it's like nothing happened. You know, we pick up a win against Newcastle away, and we haven't won there in 21 years, but we lose to Everton at home. You know, we could easily go down the south coast and blow Bournemouth away. It'd be a typical Villa sort of a statement win to come back and bounce from that. But we'll get back onto the game, Jake, here. And I mean, Brentford have one big ball over the top in behind. It's a great finish and fair play to the forward for tucking it away. But we just seem to be struggling with these balls over the top, don't we?
Yeah, there's not much you can do about the goal last night. I know a couple of times when we've conceded, you know, it's come from, you know, the mistakes of our back four, but I didn't see any mistakes leading to the goal last night. I think it was just a really, really well-timed ball over the top and really well taken. You know, that's what you got to do when you're down to 10 men. If you're going to go and throw a punch up forward, you've just got to go and throw a punch up forward and counter attack, because you're going to have to sit back and defend for your life. But if you get the opportunity to break and get out, it can cause a lot of problems, and it certainly caused a lot of problems for us last night, because not just that they they scored the goal, but they could have at least scored at least another one after they broke out. Thank you to a very good save. But geez, getting back to the top 4, top 5, I just had a quick look at our run. Obviously, we still have Chelsea and United to play, and Liverpool as well, and Tottenham. So there is still, you know, 3 or 4 of that big 6 that we still got to play. Obviously, Tottenham is irrelevant because they're down in 14th, but we've still got you know, United and Chelsea who are quite fighting for our spot. But yeah, if we can go on a little bit of a run, it almost put it to bed. I'm still fairly confident that top 4 is still within our grasp, but yeah, it does make it harder. And what hurts us the most is that we could have gone outright second yesterday, with obviously Manchester City getting a draw against Tottenham, and obviously Arsenal dropping points against United. So yeah, it was a bit of a tough one to swallow when you went to bed at 3:30 this morning.
This is what I wanted to talk about. So thanks for Duncan for putting this one in the comments. If Onana is fit enough for the bench, surely you play him. Surely you have to play Onana. He's so important for what we do and how we defend and how we are going forward. And I think people say, oh, geez, you probably should have won anyway. But it's a massive game. As you said, Jay, we could have gone outright second. I mean, even at halftime, taking off Bogard, bring on Onana. I think he's so important to what we do. And yeah, I was quite gutted when I saw him on the bench and not starting. And the reason he was a bit tired, or his muscles are a bit sore. Like, if he's on the bench, he should play. That's how I see it. I'm not sure what you guys think, especially you, Peter. What do you kind of think with the Onana being on the bench?
No, I definitely think he should have started over, especially Bogard. I think he should have started over him. But even the halftime sub was definitely needed. Just injecting a bit more pace into the squad. I think Bailey probably was the right decision to come on, but starting wise, I think I would have rather Onana start than anyone else. I think, because that's like you said, if you're on the bench, you're fit to play.
Yeah, it's just how it has to be. We'll go to probably the biggest talking point of the game from a Villa point of view. Obviously, the biggest talking point is Brentford winning with 10 men, but I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. So what I find funny about this disallowed goal is it's by our corner flag. Was the ball out of play? Probably. I'll say that probably it was out. Could you 100% tell the ball was out? No. Leon Bailey was sat on top of the ball. And not only that, there was 19 seconds between Leon Bailey passing the ball to Tammy Abraham sticking the ball in the net. Now, what annoys me as well is when they put their explanation up on the screen, it says something about like it was a factual decision. What does that even mean? Like, is every other decision mythical?
The only way you can come to a factual decision about that is having the goal line technology on the sideline. Now, every camera angle it looks almost completely obvious that the ball is out, but the camera angles are very deceiving. Now, if you pan the camera to above the ball, it probably is still completely out, but you cannot definitively say that ball is completely out without factual evidence. And that is VAR is brought in for clear and obvious errors. This is not a clear and obvious error. Would we still go on to win the game? Probably not. The way we were playing, who knows? But it's in big games where points are needed, things like that matter. Decisions like that really matter.
Scotty UK. And actually, Scotty UK has probably one of the best views of that ball. I know he sits in the upper Holt near Owen. He would have had a great view of that one. It's just, you couldn't tell. And not only that, I believe the rule with VAR and the attacking phase of play is like, as long as the Brentford backline had time to reset, that the goal should have stood. They had 19 seconds. Sancho had enough time to take a shot for the keeper to then parry it, for then Tammy Abraham to tap it in. There's more than enough time there.
Can I interject on this?
Go for it.
I've done some digging.
Ooh, some research from Peter.
Say it very well. This is from
there, Peter.
This is from the Premier League itself. They're frequently asked questions about VAR in check incidents leading to a penalty or a goal. And it states, the VAR will only check the attacking possession phase that leads to a penalty or goal. The starting point will be limited to the immediate phase. The VAR may not go back to when attacking teams gain possession.
It's actually a joke. It actually is a joke. Like,
now,
yeah.
That's from the Premier League themselves.
We've been Aston Villa here.
We have been Aston Villa, and it's typical Villa. It really is typical Villa.
It's such a thing of our club to cop. I mean,
and I don't want to take anything away from Brentford, right? I don't want to take anything away from Brentford because they defended their 18-yard box to perfection. We were crap going forward in that second half, especially the last 20 minutes. You know, we had a couple of great chances. Bailey put one over the bar. Rogers had one of the best chances actually when he cut in and put it near stick, and Callagher saved it. But credit where credit's due, Brentford actually defended quite well, and potentially rightfully deserved the win in the end. Like how they defended, I don't know. Yes, we probably should have scored, and that goal would have potentially changed the game if it is 1-1 at that stage. But I mean, they did defend very, very well. Like, yeah, I don't know what you guys think.
I think we win the game if it's 11v11.
I agree. But teams come to Villa Park and sit back and try counterattack, and that's why I think we play well against like Man City at home, when we play Arsenal at home. Like we play better against those teams. They take the game on. Everton sat deep. Brentford sat deep with 10 men. It's going to be the same when other teams kind of feel like Wolves sat deep when they were there. And we just don't break teams down. Like as Scotty UK again says here, we play too slow. Like we do play very slow, but that's the Emery way. And I mean, this season it has been working. So I don't really want to criticize our style of play for too much because it has been working. And we're still sat third in the league, 5 points clear of fourth. So I'm not going to be sit here and say, we're crap. Because for most of the season, besides August and this last 6-game period, it has been working. But just a disappointing day all around, and dust yourselves off and get ready for Bournemouth. Jakey, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we just got to brush this one off like we did with the Everton game. Everton, we were really poor. And I in some respects, I do agree with the guys in the comments that, we were unlucky in the fact that, we got countered attack against, and we got found out. But having said that, we had plenty of chances to stick the ball in the back of the net, and we didn't take them. So, got to dust ourselves off again. Bournemouth, not an easy task to go down to the South Coast. They always play really well at home, and they're a pretty good team. Bournemouth, a pretty consistent team. So you know what you're going to get from them. But I just hope that we can bounce back like we did after that Everton game, and get the 3 points like we did against Newcastle away from home. So It's not all doom and gloom. Like you said, we are still 5 points inside the top 3. So not all doom and gloom, but yeah, I'd like to see a bit of a response from the boys next weekend.
I mean, we all kind of knew this run would come because we can't keep winning forever. Let's be honest, we are going to lose matches. It's just the way that we have lost this one, and what could have been if that goal had stood. Like what if? So many what ifs in this game. So many what ifs in every game that we play. Like what if McGinn didn't get injured against Everton? Whatever. It just kind of happens. But it's all about how we respond, and we responded well. We beat Fenerbahce, we beat Newcastle, we beat Salzburg after we lost to Everton. So, I mean, that's a pretty bloody good response. I wish we'd obviously continued on for another game. I want to get into some subs and what's something I want to talk about. It's probably not how Emery goes about things, but when you're 1-0 down, they got 10 men, why not take a risk? Sub off Buendia and bring on someone like Tyrone Mings. If your sole purpose is to get the ball in the box, would you rather be crossing it to Buendia or Tyrone Mings? I know it's probably not the Emery style of play, but we have no height besides Tammy.
It's exactly what I was thinking too, because every time the ball was whipped into the box, it was definitely a Brentford player getting their head on it first. Their tall defenders were pretty much unfazed the entire time, and I think every time we went forward, it always started off with Konsa about 25 yards out. You'd be wanting someone who can, leather a shot like a Matty Cash in that position, I reckon. Because every time Konsa got the ball in that spot, he'd delay it about 4 or 5 seconds, allowed all the Brentford players to, reset to whatever their position is, waiting for a cross again. And every time a cross came in, it just came to nothing. And, it was just rinse and repeat. And you can't play for 65 minutes with against 10 men and have, I think it was
close. I think a 42nd minute, the red card.
Yeah, okay, 42nd, yeah. So, since that moment of the game, you can't have that amount of chances and only have, I think it was about 6 shots on target.
There's a comment early days from Coxie here. 27 shots at goal, 12 corners, and we didn't really threaten with any of them. Besides like the Rodgers one that went near post, and obviously the Tammy Abraham one early on in the game. It's just... Yeah, it's one of those days. It just didn't go our way. It honestly didn't go our way. And I do want to touch on Harvey Elliott's cameo. I mean, I put in the chat, like, I do rate him. That ball he played to Bailey late in the game, if Bailey had just been the old Bailey evolved, that goes in top bins. It really does.
2023 Bailey, that's going in.
Yeah, 2023 Bailey, it goes in. Harvey Elliott, it's a bloody good ball. And I know it's the transfer deadline day, and we'll touch on that in a tiny bit, but I would not be opposed to him signing for us permanently. I really wouldn't be. Honestly, I think he's a quality player, Jakey, and we haven't seen a lot of him, but in the last couple of games, I've seen enough. I really have that I think he can work in this Emery system.
Yeah, look, he's I don't know where he's been. I don't know where he's been, whether it's been a training thing, whether it's been a contract thing. We don't know. But look, he is starting to show what the guys at Liverpool obviously saw with him. So I'd be all happy for him to stay. I'm a little bit skeptical still about him, but I think he's still a class enough player that we could mold him into what we want him to be. One thing about Emery is that he is very good at molding younger players to how he wants to play. And that's just the type of coach that he is. So don't be surprised if he gets another season under his belt, another pre-season under Emery, where he might be able to find a little bit more development in a different spot. But as Coxie said, the 35 million price tag though is a bit of a stretch, especially when you got PSR already in play with us. So yeah, I agree. Coxie is probably not worth the 35 million at the moment, but he does have the potential to be a really good player, and really, really good at being able to be developed into something that we want him to be.
I think a lot will come down to where we finish the season. Obviously, I know he has to hit the threshold of games. I think it's 10. I think he's played 7 games now. But if we're locked in to get Champions League football, I reckon we buy him. I reckon we push him and play those last few games because he just proved what he could have done. And we had a midfield shortage on everything. And this is what I'm talking about. So we spent 32 million on Guessond, but we're all the way about 35 for Harvey Elliott. And I think Harvey Elliott's a much better player. I don't see the issue here with spending 35 million on a young English talent. The one thing I will say this
was heavily discussed last week, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sorry. All I can hear right now is Owen going, "What is going on in that boardroom?"
You obviously have to go check out last week's podcast, or even the YouTube short on TikTok as well. Owen's rant about Evan Guessond. But I mean, I'd rather Elliott over Guessond any day of the week. And I think what's really quite off-putting is Liverpool have a buyback clause. That's what I was going to mention before. They have a buyback clause on Elliott. So is it worth the risk? I don't know. I think it is if we get Champions League football. But I think we'll leave the Brentford game there. I think it was a bit of a disappointing day, as it was. Villa Park was very flat, and it's not often you see happy away supporters leaving Villa Park. And Keith Andrews did the fist bumps like Onana. They were doing the points in the pocket, copying Onana. It was a big day out for Brentford, and we'll leave it at that. So fair play to Brentford getting 3 points and leaving Villa Park. But something I do want to mention, guys, it is transfer deadline day. So happy transfer deadline day for those who celebrate. Aston Villa will not be celebrating transfer deadline day. So I think we have finished with all our business. I was thinking we could name our top 3 January transfer signings. I'm going to go first. I've got some honourable mentions, and these ones are very unlucky not to make my top 3. I'm going to start with Boya Baston for his 30 minutes of football he played for Aston Villa. Danny Drinkwater for his extremely successful loan spell. And who could forget Tom Carroll, who came on loan from Swansea, I think, when we were in the Championship. Obviously, they aren't my serious ones. But in all seriousness, my top 3, I can't go past Darren Bent. One of my first real seasons of following Villa, getting Darren Bent in from Sunderland for, at the time, I think it was £24 million, which was a lot of money. And God, he scored some crucial goals for us. Number 2 is a bit controversial because he was a loan signing. I think he might be on a couple of our lists, is Tyrone Mings. The fact he's still going, strong for us, and how well he's been playing as an Aston Villa player for, 6 years now, is testament to that. And the last one, it can't be anyone else. Morgan Rogers. Middlesbrough fans said we overpaid for him, and I still can't believe how well this signing has turned out to be for us. Morgan Rogers is an absolute baller, and the future's is going to be good. We'll go to you next, Peter. What are your 3 January signings? Your top 3?
Well, I'm changing mine up. I initially had Tyrone Mings as my number 3, but I'm actually going to take him out and put Morgan Rogers in. I reckon as much of as a short and sharp spell it was, I still would have John Duran up in there as I would put him as a number 2. But the goated January signing, I've got from 2005, Eric Jemba, the most overlooked, I reckon, at the club. No, I'm joking. I reckon it's got to be John Carew from January 2007, who I actually didn't even realize this until I was looking this up before. We did a straight swap with Milan Baros.
That's unbelievable business. John Carew, what a player. I know his time at Villa Park didn't end how he would have wanted, but he's one of my heroes growing up, John Carew. He was an absolute baller. Absolute baller. Jakey, who's on your top 3?
I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit more recently here. With my top 3. So number 3, I'm going to go with Daniel Marlin. I think Daniel Marlin did, before he's obviously left now, but mate, he was an impact sub off the bench, and such an impactful player for us over the course of time that he was with us. The other one I got to go with is obviously Bent, like yourself. That's number 2. But my number one, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with. I have to go with Tyrone Mings because when we came up, and he was a big part of us coming up, and then obviously, of course, he signed on the permanent in the summer. For him to be at the club for as long as he has been, what has it been, nearly 7 or 8 years now? He's just proven time and time again just how much he loves the club, and a really consistent player. Obviously, captain the club as well. So he's got to be my number one for me.
I love that, and you never know. We might be surprised, and we sign Yamal today when we wake up in Australia. You never know who will pull the rabbit out of the hat. Before we get on to a Brentford preview, I just want to thank everyone for watching as well. We got Paul Cox in here. We got Duncan, Scotty UK. You got Kevin in here live. The chat's popping off. So if you're watching this after, get in the live. It's good fun. Get involved, a bit of banter in the chats as well. We'll go on to a Bournemouth preview. Obviously, we did talk about going down the South Coast. We have a decent record down there over recent years. I think it was a 1-0 win last year. Ollie Watkins with the goal. They're not the same team without Semenyo, but they're still going to be a bloody hard team to beat at home for them. Where can you see us winning this game, Peter? Where can you see Villa having the advantage and, trying to get 3 points?
I think down there, it's like beating them on the best of days is a hard thing to do. I think we need to beat them with pace. I'd love to see Onana start. And I think we need a really fit and firing Morgan Rogers and Leon Bailey on the wings. And I think he'll definitely get his chance, but I do think it's not far before Tammy gets his returning goal. I am quite positive leading into this, but it will be tough. They've had a very decent run recently, the old Bournemouth. But I think, moving on, we've had the blip up against Brentford, and I reckon we go to the South Coast and take the 3 points, and we're back all happy Larry again.
Now, Jakey, this is a ground that you and I had the opportunity to visit in January 2020, so 6 years ago. How good was that? Ali Samatta scored the goal that day in a 2-1 loss. How times have changed.
Nobody even knew that Ali Samatta scored. I don't know what it was, but all I remember is that nobody celebrated because nobody realised that Ali Samatta had scored.
It was very weird. Everyone thought it was Keenan Davis, I think. It was a very weird day, that. It was, all I know is we were terrible. We lost and we were destined for relegation, and we somehow stayed up that year. We'll get to some score. You go.
The best part about that was the pubs afterwards.
Oh, the pubs before, the pubs afterwards are always great, and it's the people you meet along the way that obviously make those kind of events special. I still remember my Uber driver picking me up from Bournemouth Station and thinking I was a Bournemouth fan. Then he picked up an Aussie Villa fan, so I think he was very surprised that day. So if you're watching this, you never know. If you're watching it,
And huge shout out to the granddad and kid that were giving the bird to me as we were walking out. Shout out to them if you ever watch this or if you ever remember it. But no, this 70-year-old. We're walking out of the stadium, and as we're walking down the steps, I noticed that.
I remember it.
I noticed that this 70-year-old bloke and his grandson were standing there, and we've locked eyes, and he's just going. So, well done, you old son. Fair play.
The most British thing they can possibly do. The old two fingers.
I actually do agree with Kevin here. This is going to be part of my prediction. I do fancy Rodgers to score because, as he said, he always goes quiet, and then he'll come with 2 or 3 goals. Bang, bang, bang. We'll get into predictions. I'm going to go first. I'm going to go a 2-0 win to Villa. Rodgers with the goal. Tammy Abraham with the goal. Simple sport. We're back on winning ways. Peter Caulfield, what's your prediction?
I'm going goals. I'm going 3-2 because when do we ever keep clean sheets? As is mentioned many, many times. I'm saying I'm going Bournemouth to be 2-0 up at halftime, And then I'm going a Tammy double and a Morgan Rogers 90th minute winner.
Oh, I would take that.
Did you get hit in the head playing cricket yesterday? Are you okay?
I did get sunburnt. I don't know if you can tell. I did get a bit sunburnt because I once again forgot the old sunscreen, but it might be affecting me. I don't know. I haven't even had a beer or anything. I'm on the waters tonight, so.
Oh yeah.
Jakey, what's yours?
I've just had a bit of a look at Bournemouth's previous fixtures. They are very, very good at home, and they've scored multiple goals in their last 4 or 5 games at home. So I'm going to go. I'm still going to say that we're going to go down and get the 3 points. But I like Peter's prediction. I'm going to go 3-2 because they won 3-2 in the last game at home against Liverpool. They scored 2 goals against Arsenal. Had to score a 90th minute winner to beat them down there. Scored 2 goals against Chelsea. Burnley 1-1. Yeah, I got to go 3-2 with this. I think this game's going to be wide open, and I still think we're going to get the job done.
And Paul's gone with a 1-0 Villa win, and Duncan's gone with a 2-0 Villa win. The only reason I've kept going to keep us a clean sheet is because of how we played against Newcastle. So for all those streaming at their TVs thinking that we don't keep clean sheets, that's why I've gone for it, because I don't know. Let's have a feeling. What's Scotty UK saying? At least Bournemouth won. Play like Stoke City and Tony Pulis.
Tony Pulis, Jesus Christ.
Anyone got anything else to add to the podcast today? Anything?
Can I just go on a bit of a rant real quick?
Oh, geez, I think you can. I'm all for this.
It's about our not so noisy neighbours in blue and white down the road.
Jesus.
So over the last couple of over the last probably 12 hours or so, I've seen us had, for some reason, my Facebook comes with a Facebook page called KRO, or Keep Right On, and it's all about ChatGPT memes about Aston Villa and whatnot. Put yourselves back in your box, for fuck's sake. You're 13th in the championship, and you've only just been promoted from League One, and you're sitting there giving a shit about losing one game to a 10-man Brentford. At least be in the Premier League before you start to throw shit.
They can just clutch at straws all the time. Always have been.
But they do it for the bite, Jakey. And I think they've got a bit of a nibble on the fishing rod in your lounge room right now.
Yeah,
they've
caught themselves a decent sized salmon.
Yeah, they did, but I don't know which head to whack first because there's 2 of them on each person.
And Duncan's right; they did actually win. So
it doesn't matter if they won or not; they're still sitting 13th in the championship.
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah, just get back in your box. I will say one positive thing: as much as I hate, they did release a pretty good retro kit, though.
I will say that as well. I did like that retro kit.
I still think it looks like Tesco branded bog roll, but
it does. Yeah. It does.
It was probably ordered from Shein too.
Probably. And Jake, you got another video hitting the socials tonight. Do you want to give us a sneak peek on what that's going to be? That's going to be on TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook as well, and YouTube Shorts. So stay tuned for it. But Jake, give us a sneak peek.
Yeah, so I'm going to put up a little bit of a video tonight, but you also have to smash the follow and like button for it to do so. So make sure you go and check us out on socials, on Instagram, on X, Facebook, if you want to see that video. It's not easy being a Villa fan in Australia, especially when someone has to get up and go to work on Monday morning. Just a little bit of what we have to put up with when we get up for these sort of games. So, I'll put that up shortly. Go over onto our Instagram page, go up on our Facebook and our Twitter, and have a bit of a look, have a bit of a laugh, interact with us, and most importantly, give us a follow. It's the only way that we get better.
Absolutely. I've seen a snippet of it too. It's absolute quality.
It is very good. So make sure you stay tuned for that one on the socials. But I think that's it, guys. I don't think we've got any more to talk about. But Peter, thanks for joining us. Hopefully the first of many on the Coop De Villa podcast. Did you enjoy yourself today, mate?
Absolutely, yeah. It was nice to finally get an invite from you boys. I've been waiting a long time for this, I will say. I do want to give one last shout out. A good mate of mine, Simon. He has just started to get into the football, and of all teams, this was literally only a couple of weeks ago. He's decided of all teams to follow Brentford. So I've been getting absolute gobshite from him all morning. So I will give a good shout out to him. He's a good bloke.
That's fair enough. Jake, anything else from you, mate? That's it.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my mate Noah Fisher. Just top bloke.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't
Thanks,
play,
mate.
Can't play darts, but he has a pretty good pool at his house. So
I do have a pretty good pool at my house. Yes, but until next time, guys, up the Villa. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you after Bournemouth.
Up the Villa.
The Villa.